Welcome to Independent Minds Expert Ideas, a virtual talk with true experts from all over the globe about how to thrive in a changing world. Today, my guest is Ilja Grzeskowitz. Transform your culture, change your business is your topic. Hi, Ilja.
Hi, Christian. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. We met a lot over the last years in different places in the world. I don't remember. When was the last time when we met?
Well, last time we met was actually not that long ago, but it seems like forever. It was before the COVID crisis. It was in February at it wasn't the Global Speakers Summit. It was the Plan B Summit, which replaced the Global Speakers Summit in Swakopmund, Namibia.
Yes, I know. There was one summit after the other.
Exactly.
A change over a couple of weeks. And yes, that was an amazing time. That was at the edge of the Corona crisis, and the whole world changed since then. And change is also the topic of our book that we issued, which is about independent minds, expert ideas. But change is also your topic you're talking about. But it's not what you did for your whole lifetime. You already had another background before, and I read in the book, and I know that of course because we know each other, that you have been working for Germany's largest retail corporation and also for IKEA. So how did it come that you're now an expert on change?
Well, that's true. I was a store manager for 10 different department stores all over Germany. And I started as the youngest store manager all over Germany. I was 27 right after I finished university. And I think the second youngest colleague of mine, he was like 46 or 47 at that time. And I started, and the whole company, the whole organization like started to go into crisis mode, because that was in 2002, and the whole online shopping just started. Amazon just grew with two-digit numbers every single year. The shopping malls started to grow, and the whole concept of department stores was disrupted from the outside. And I did that for 7 years, and I always liked selling. I always liked to be in charge of a department store, but deep down here, I always, I knew what I really loved, and that was working with people and delivering workshops, giving speeches, and all that kind of stuff. And so I decided to start my own company, and that was in 2009. And everybody told me, well, your company probably won't last longer than 5 weeks. 6 weeks. And in 2019, we had our 10th business anniversary. And fun fact aside, during the Corona crisis, Karstadt, the company I was working for, was hit hard by the crisis, and they have to shut down half of their stores in Germany, which is around 100, which is a lot. So let's talk about change.
Yeah, absolutely. And but I think it was a big decision for you at that time to move from a job that is quite secure, and I'm pretty sure that everybody in your environment said, please stay there because that is a great job, to something that is totally unexpected and totally unsecure at the first.
Exactly. The job was allegedly safe, secure. In hindsight, it really wasn't, because right after I quit, so many of my colleagues got fired. And I was I was earning quite a good salary. I had a nice company car, Swedish Volvo back then, and yeah, all the career doors were wide open for me. And if I would have stayed, I'm pretty sure that I would have made a decent career. But that was, from the outside, I was quite successful, but inside, I wasn't happy, because that wasn't the life I wanted to live. And I was at a crossroads, at a turning point in my life. And I'm so happy I made the decision, because from the outside, everybody said, how can you exchange this safe and secure job and all the money you're earning for something that's just a stupid idea in your head? But thankfully, I didn't listen to all these people and did it anyway. And well, if I look back, it was probably one of maybe the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Absolutely. And I think that many people are on that edge of the decision to do something different. Can you give them an advice or recommendation how they could make a better decision on that corner, on that point in life when they have to decide which way they go?
This is pretty tough to give advice on that, because I remember that it took me at least 3 to 4 years to really commit to that decision. From the first moment I had that idea in my head, well, maybe I should start my own company, to I'm actually doing that. That was a 3 to 4 year time span in between. And I had so many doubts. Should I really do that? And what would happen if it doesn't work out? And maybe it's safer to just stay here. You know what you have. And it's always like that exchange between certainty and uncertainty. And it's pretty tough. What really helps is if you, and this is something I also wrote in the article in the book, if you know your core values and what you really expect from life. Because if you know that, it's always easier to make a decision, but it's never easy, because let's face it, these kind of life-changing decisions are always hard. They're kind of complex, and now more than ever, there are no simple answers to complex problems we're facing.
Absolutely. And you have to think well about it to make the right decision. You also talked about the article, which is titled "Transform Your Culture, Change Your Business." And can you give us some core messages of this article? What is it about?
Well, the first core message is something I just said. We're living in times, even before COVID-19, before like everything changed overnight and the world wasn't like it was before. Even before that, the circumstances, like the economy was changing, lots of industries were like in disruption mode for years, and everybody was looking for simple answers. But these times, they are so complex that there are no simple answers. There are no 5-step formulas. There are no shortcuts. And this is probably one of the key messages of my article, because I introduced my change competence model. Because if you want to change yourself, your team, or even your organization, it's always a combination of different areas. And there are 4 different areas of my change competence model, which is culture, which is leadership, which is communication, and which is intention. And at the core, at the bottom of this model is my favorite topic. It's core values and its purpose. And if you're talking about that, it's not about making one single change, but making hundreds and maybe thousands of small changes, which in the end leads to transforming the culture of your company. Because that's what's important. If you want to change in the long run, you have to change the culture. You need to change the culture of your team, the way you communicate, the way you organize yourself, the way leadership is working, because that's the only way to do it. And everybody is expecting some kind of simple answers. Well, give me a formula or give me a kind of recipe on how we can deal with this change. But every change is different. Every company is different. And you always have to find an individual way to deal with all these changes. And this is where my change competence model comes into play.
Yeah, and I think it's a great model. And I also read, and I think that was quite interesting for me also, that you said change is different these days. So the days are gone when you have change as a one-time project, where you focus on doing that change and then change is done for a while. You also said that change is occurring every time, and then many change initiatives are coming on one time together. So how do you see that? Is it a model for the future? How do we have to deal with that in the future too?
Well, I would sum that up back in the old days, which means 5 or 6 years ago. Still, one of the key skills for every C-suite team, for every management team, was classic change management. Like you said, there was a status quo. Then you had a change process every few years, which you managed more or less successfully. And then it was back to normal again, and everybody could breathe for quite some time. And this is different today because the changes happen so fast. And in these Corona times, everybody was talking about this exponential curve in which the virus was spreading at the beginning. And the same is true for technological change, for digitalization, because it starts very slow and then it spreads exponentially. And this means there is no status quo and then the change and then it's back to normal. It's a constant change, and this is why change management is no longer enough. It has to be this change competence, which means every single person in the organization, not just the CEO or the CFO, but every single person at their place needs to think in terms of how can I be a part of this change. They need to grow themselves and be responsible for the change at their place, but at the same time inspire the people around them. And this is change is an everyday phenomenon, and the better you're able to deal with it and to actively look out for opportunities, to actively shape the future, the better you will be able to deal with all these pretty tough times right now.
Absolutely. And you also said that you cannot put it on the shoulders of just a few people, like the management team, because everybody has to be on board of that ship and work on changing the environment. And you also said what I liked about that model is that it's a middle, there's the word purpose. How would you define purpose in that context?
Well, I'm pretty aware that purpose is one of these overused buzzwords at the time right now, but that doesn't change the importance of having a purpose, because every successful company and organization I have the honor of working with right now, if they are successful in whatever they do, and I work with completely different companies, small size, middle size, big international corporations, every industry from automobile, banking, pharma, you name it. And they are completely different. But when they are successful in their field, it's always because they have a purpose that goes beyond just making a profit. And let's face it, making a profit, it's important, because without making a profit, the company wouldn't be sustainable. They couldn't pay their employees. But you need to have a purpose as the core of your culture. And purpose means, why are we in this business? What would the world miss if we would be gone from today? And what are our core values of these organizations that everybody buys into? So people want to be a part of that company, and customers want to be a part of that company by buying their services or buying their products. And so the purpose is this, the meaning of our business. And if you focus all your activities and all your tactics, which are important, of course, but they need to have a purpose and core values as the foundation, because if you don't have that, every change is doomed to fail in the long run.
Absolutely. And people will not understand why change is necessary if that is missing too. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. You also said that change competence is the most important skill of the future.
Exactly.
Which is something that is also quite important to know. But how can people learn change competence? Is it something that can be taught at a university, or has that something to do with lifetime experience? What do you think?
Well, the answer is yes and no. Yes, it can be taught to an extent, but in the end, not really. And you can just observe it right now. Well, at the beginning of the Corona crisis, the whole economy was shutting down overnight, and nobody was allowed to go into the offices anymore. And a lot of companies, well, they introduced home office to their employees, and from one day to the other, everybody was doing home office. And lots of organizations learned quite fast and quickly, and they adapted and they made it happen because they had no alternative. And a lot of other companies struggled, and they said, no, we can't do home office, and you have to be in our office to make the organization work, which teaches us everybody was facing the same disruption from the outside. Everybody was facing the same change, but some people were dealing quite well with it and others were struggling with it. So you can't really learn it, but if you just try something out and then recognize, well, it's not that difficult and it really works, and I don't have to be in my office for 9 hours a day because I can do the same work maybe in 6 hours from my home office. Well, then you've learned, well, this is working. So the best advice I can give to develop that change competence is like, always try something out, try new things out, be open to new ideas. And if you do that, always do it with intention. Like, don't change just for change's sake. Like, let's try something different just because we did something different. But now we're back to the purpose. What's the purpose of that change? And if you are introducing home office in your team, the purpose could be like, my team members are more satisfied at the end of the day, or my team members can like balance that struggle between family and work better, or they are more productive because they are not whatever. So always change with a purpose and then just try it out and learn on the way.
And always answer the question, why are we doing this?
Exactly.
Perfect. There's more about this in this book.
Oh, there's lots of new ideas,
yeah.
not only from me, of course.
Absolutely, and there's also more about the change competence model, and it's you have to really read it to understand it. There's a lot of insight about change and how to deal with that, and it's not the only book here that you have written. You've written, I think, over 10 books. Is that right?
Well, this book, I don't know if I can call it my book because I'm just one of many authors, work together as an author team. But if we count that book, it's 11 books now, not counting the ones that have been translated into various languages. And I hope that this year one of my biggest projects is coming to life, because one of my books will be published in mainland China, which is of course for an author like a dream come true, because you have, I don't know how many potential billion readers, but yeah, quite a lot of books. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. When will that happen?
Well, it was supposed to happen this summer, but of course, with all this Corona crisis, it will probably take at least half a year longer. At least I think so.
Perfect. So if people want to know about this, when that happens, and want to stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
Well, best way, of course, is just to follow me on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And you can always, if you want to contact me, you can send me a direct message. I'm quite active on social media.
Perfect. So I will put all the addresses under that video into the notes.
It's pretty easy. It's always at Ilja G.
Yeah, I know. So it's pretty easy to find. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Christian.
Thanks. And hopefully we will meet each other again soon. Not just virtual, but for a real life beverage, whatever.
Hold beverage, absolutely. And do me a favor, just hold the book one last time in the camera.
There it is.
Amazing.
See you soon. Thank you.
See you.
Goedendag, mijn naam is Paul Terwal en de groeten vanuit Zwolle in Nederland.
Dumelang go tswa kwa Afrika Borwa, leina la me ke Okgopoleng Mushi.
Hello, greetings from West Kirby near Liverpool in England. My name is Chris Davidson.
Moin und hallo aus Berlin, Deutschland. Mein Name ist Ilja Grzeskowitz.
G'day everyone, my name is Lindsay Adams. I'm speaking to you today from Brisbane, Australia.
Hello, and greetings from Erlangen, Germany. I'm Laura Baxter.
Hi, ek is Ziggy Lange. Ek is van Windhoek, van Namibia.
Hello, and greetings from West Wales. My name's Rebecca Jones.
Hallo aus Düsseldorf, Germany. Mein Name ist Christian Buchholz.